and giving the candidates for Lebanon County Commissioner the opportunity to speak to you and taking your time to come out this evening. As most of you know, my name is Bill Ames. I've been a Lebanon County Commissioner now for almost my first 4-year term, a few months left. 4 years ago, actually more than 4 years ago, when I began to consider running for this office, I had a lot of things to think about, as do I think any of us that decide to go on this route. What I looked at was my experience that I could bring to this position. And 30 years in education, almost a lifelong experience in various businesses, 6 years as a township supervisor in South Londonderry Township. Looking at those things, I felt that I could make a contribution to the County of Lebanon. Looking back at what I've accomplished these last 4 years serving on this board, I believe that that was true. So, thank you very much.
I do want to thank HACC, Chamber of Commerce, and Lebanon Daily News for allowing us the opportunity to speak as candidates. We're constantly marketing ourselves, we're constantly talking, and it's great to have this forum. My name is Tarsa, President and CEO of CL Sturkey. We're a medical device manufacturer located here in the city. I also serve on the board of directors of Mantech Inc., which is an industrial resource center. They provide aid to small and mid-sized manufacturers. I'm also on the board of the Cornell Iron Furnace, and I'm on the board of the Crest High School Parent Boosters. So I coach my kids in soccer, baseball, and thought I'd add one more thing to the agenda, but thank you.
Good evening, my name is Bob Phillips. I'm County Commissioner as well, running for re-election, and I want to thank all of you for being here and thank our hosts. Before I begin, I want to thank my wife Brenda, without whom I would not be here tonight. Thank you for your support. And what I've gotten out of the last 4 years probably has been a deepened appreciation for our county, the richness of it, the beauty of it, and working with the municipalities and so many people that I've gotten to know through this work, but also to appreciate more than probably ever the employees of the county. We have wonderful employees doing very difficult work. We have the biggest challenges of society that we deal with. They do it very well and with great dedication. So it's been a great pleasure working with them, and I've enjoyed every minute, almost every minute of being a commissioner. I look forward to your support in the future. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jo Ellen Litz. I'd like to start by saying that I'm a wife of 45 years, a mother of 2 children and 2 grandchildren, and I have been a business person in this community, a community volunteer, as well as a county commissioner. I understand the importance of elected officials being accessible and instituted and maintain a website and other social media to inform people about county programs, policies, and other things 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I often speak with passion and turn obstacles into opportunities. I believe that we need the best executive partnership in the Commissioner's office. There's no room to play games or for partisan bickering. Our charge is to serve the people of this county, thus my motto, people above politics. I look forward to finding opportunities in the long-term solutions to the challenges we face, and with your vote, I will continue to be here for you through storms, through elections, through getting our children on the right path, and many more things. I look forward to serving you. Thank you all.
Thank you all very much, and we will proceed with the questions. The first being, if elected, what are your top 3 priorities for the county? And again, we'll start with Bill.
Thank you. It's pretty difficult to establish just 3 priorities because county government has a lot to do in many ways that we serve the residents of Lebanon County. But we do have some things that have been put aside probably for a number of years, perhaps even longer than the 4-year term that we're just completing. One of those, of course, has to deal directly with public safety, and that is the EMA and the 911 facility. As they like to say in the consulting world, a lot of our equipment there is at end of life, as they say, and of course, what that means is obviously that it's going to have to be replaced and going to cost money to do it. So the 911 and regionalization, having a backup method is first on my list of priorities. The IT, or as it's called at the county, the MIS department is next. That's been postponed, it's been put off for years, actually put off prior to this most recent term, and it needs to be addressed. We've already had a study done by a woman from HACC, an authority in IT, and she's given us some ideas.
Thank you very much, Bill.
My 3 priorities are economic development, improved operations countywide, and prison. I sit on the board of Mantech, and we're, as I said, an industrial resource center. And they ask me each year to lobby at the state level and the federal level. And in so doing, I have an opportunity to describe the benefits of that organization. And what it comes down to is, it really is job creation. And I really understand how that works. I've done it in my business, and I've seen it work in other areas. Improved operations, one of the systems that manufacturers use is called lean manufacturing. It was developed by Toyota. They actually learned it from our country, but it's a series of baby steps of continuous improvement. And I think with that system, you can get more output with less cost. And I really see opportunity in the way the county works in employing that. And I think Lebanon County can really become a model for counties across the state. The prison, I look at Lebanon County Prison, and I think, talking to people that are involved in not only the prison here in county, but in Dauphin County, business people like to use best practices, and they like to talk to other businesses. And I think there is an opportunity to do what Dauphin County is doing. They have been successful, and especially with their probation, and they've been very proactive and collaborative. Thank you.
My first priority would be fiscal stability, and we've made a lot of strides in this area. Presently, the county has an improved bond rating as a result of having 100 days cash on hand, which is something we haven't had for many years. We have our pension back up to the 80% level in terms of funding. And to give you an example of Lackawanna County, they have a pension for their police at 12%, so they have about 3 more years left of funding their pension. We are at 80%, and we are trying to figure a way of getting us to 100% funding. So our bond rating has improved. We have not had a tax increase in any of the years that I've been commissioner. And according to the Daily News, we are in the 105th day of not having a state budget. And because of our fiscal stability, we're able to fund all the programs and services of our county without any money from the state thus far this year. So we're able to do that only because we're in a strong cash position. Second, EMA, regional backup, we will have working regionally and with technology, because public safety is our main tenet as a commissioner. And Bill mentioned the IT overhaul. We have a comprehensive need to look at that to fix it's downward and it's up our system, and our employees need the tools to do their job well for the taxpayers.
My top 3 priorities would be to continue to retain and attract jobs in Lebanon County, to support clean water and the environment, including farm preservation and completing the rail trail by 2020. I also, number 3, believe that we have public safety as a number 1 issue. That includes maintaining safe roads and bridges to get our goods to market, our people to jobs, and our children to schools. Number 2, moving the 911 center from the basement of the municipal building. And number 3, under public safety, working with the Criminal Justice Advisory Board to work on prison overcrowding, perhaps with the day reporting center. I think that these 3 top issues can be attacked by all of us as a team. And we also simultaneously will be working on IT. Thank you.
Thank you very much. For this next question, we'll begin with Chris. And the question is, what do you see as the top 3 opportunities for the county over the next 3 or 4 years?
Well, actually, priorities create the opportunities. And economic development, my business is located at 824 Cumberland Street. I drive down Cumberland Street every day, and there's a Lebanon paper box factory right there at 12th and Cumberland. And I look at that, I see opportunity similar to the Philadelphia Navy Yard, where you get some funding and you create an economic development center. You create incubator space for startup companies. You have retail space there. But right now it's sitting there, I drive by it every day, and I see opportunity. Coordinated effort, I think, if we as county commissioners can work with not only the chamber, the LVEDC, industrial resource centers, the SBDC out of Kutztown, we can create an environment that will drive local businesses, and it's about job creation, job retention, and wage growth. And I think, given the area, we have people with great work ethic, and I think we really can leverage that. With lean manufacturing and applying those principles, it's used in healthcare, it's used in offices, we can get better government at less cost, and it's a simple formula. I really think through best practices, the prison is the biggest liability for the county. I think there's a huge opportunity to improve things there.
I have tourism and taking full advantage of the general of the county, the expo in that area. We have an opportunity because of our rich heritage and all the great assets that we have, to build on what is already the tourism business in Lebanon County. But the expo with its venues that are available needs support with more motel rooms and so on, so they can have bigger venues. And the North Cornwall Commons is that's ready to explode in the southern part of the county. That will give us another hotel and some restaurants, etc. And that has just been funded, so that'll be moving forward very shortly. Lebanon is really blessed with some great schools, colleges. We have the VA hospital, one of the best in the country. We have the Good Samaritan Hospital in Philhaven, just merged with WellSpan. That will bring intellectual capital to Lebanon, more so than we've ever had for healthcare. We have Pinnacle coming into town. We have Lancaster General coming into town. These are great opportunities for jobs, and we need to have Lebanon prepared with workers for these jobs, so we need the colleges and the schools to move those kids into preparation for the healthcare jobs and other jobs that are coming available.
I believe that greater things are yet to come, and greater things are yet to be done in Lebanon County. To do that, we need to continue to preserve our quality of life. That includes our clean water, our environment, and our rural character. Our people, they are great opportunities. As mentioned, we have 3 fine educational facilities of higher learning: Lebanon Valley College, HACC, and the Evangelical School of Theology. We have all kinds of arts that bring people to our community. That's a great opportunity. Now, Gretna Art Show, first Friday Arts Council, the Timbers, the Community Theater, the high schools do great musicals, show choirs, Gene Henry's Dance Studio down the road, and we have gyms and sports going on all over the place, and trails. We have the Appalachian Trail and the Rail Trail and the Swatara Water Trail and the city walking tours. We also have a strong infrastructure anchored by Interstates 81 and 78 and the Pennsylvania Turnpike. These are opportunities that if we capitalize on, will continue to make Lebanon County great. Thank you.
Economic development seems to be a priority here, and it was a priority with me as I took office. And I look at continued economic development in the county as a great opportunity. I too would like to see us go beyond what we're presently doing in economic development. Perhaps the county plays a greater role in the Lebanon Valley Economic Development Corporation, so that we can do economic development not just with the lands that the Economic Development Corp holds, but in buildings in the city and across the county. Also, I didn't get to mention, because the time seems to be longer for my colleagues here than it does for me when I begin to speak, but one of my priorities was also the prison and a day reporting center, and I look at that opportunity to make the prison facility a better place, to try to cut expenses for the county, and to do a better job serving the folks who perhaps have gone astray and getting them back into the workforce. To me, that's a great opportunity.
Thank you very much, Bill. The next question, somewhat related to one of the points you made earlier. It is important for the county to grow services and amenities it offers for its residents. Part of that comes from the types and number of businesses that choose to grow their operations or locate their business in Lebanon County. How would you grade the county on its business climate and economic development activity? What does the county do well? What can it improve? And what should the county's role be in economic development? And there's a handful. We'll start with Bob.
Well, I think according to the statistics anyway, we are doing an excellent job in employment. We're consistently in either the first or second in unemployment. Right now it's just below 5%. So usually Center County and Lebanon are going back and forth with that. So in terms of statistics, we're doing well. I think the commissioners can do supportive things like interview incoming businesses for alertas and TIFs. That will help encourage, because there's much competition on Route 78 and 81 for these businesses to come to our county. Perfect example would be Bill Ames. They're doing a $100 million investment. Now, they've been in our county 30 years. They're as solid as you get. They're going to have 1,000 employees, and whatever our planning department can do, whatever our municipalities can do to encourage that and to support that is what we should be doing. Efficiency and low cost of our planning department and making it user-friendly is another assist in economic development.
I believe that we should support our existing businesses by shopping local and promoting them in any way we can. I believe the county completed a comprehensive plan that lays out a vision to identify where best to locate commercial and industrial development. We should continue to follow that. We also created the Lebanon Valley Economic Development Corporation for the purpose of marketing and attracting businesses to Lebanon County. We have more shovel-ready land and business parks than other counties in Pennsylvania. I've heard through City Council, the Aspens mentioned, a beachfront business center, Eastern Land. There are many more, including Progress Park, Hawk Acres, Lebanon Rails, Lebanon Valley Business Park, among others. We also should facilitate job creation, and we do that through what's called LEOs, local elected officials, in cooperation with the Career Link. We have a lot of businesses that have been providing jobs, from Sid Tool to Bell & Evans, 3,000 jobs there alone, Vision Properties, 1,000, and Cornell Manor are all examples. In addition, we support the CLA and the Chamber of Commerce through memberships and also attending functions. We have a planning department. We've been recession-proof. And again, greater things are yet to come, and greater things are still to be done.
Economic development, again, it seems like we're kind of stuck on that topic, but certainly bringing new businesses to the county, helping existing businesses to grow and flourish, creating family-supporting jobs is the main emphasis for the county. We do that through LERDAs and TIFs, and we encourage the creation of jobs and trying to match jobs with the workforce. Commissioner Litz mentioned the LEO. I actually serve as on the LEO board, the local elected officials for WIB, and we're constantly updating and reviewing the training processes that are available in the county and trying to improve those.
I'm not sure if we have more time, I think we just talk faster. But, no, I think this is a great place to have a business, an opportunity for businesses abound. So we have gems in HACC and LBC, and I think in the recent past, they've done a lot more to reach out and cooperate with local businesses. I mentioned the work ethic. We're so close to all the interstates. It's really easy to move goods out of Lebanon County. I had an opportunity to attend the World Business Forum in New York City, and that was a workshop. It was 2 days teaching innovation. I'd like to have the Lebanon County Business Forum and teach innovation to small companies. My company, we have 19 employees, and we're selling across the globe. When I look at the county and the amenities that we can provide as county commissioners, I'd love to see a comprehensive bike plan. More and more people are on their bikes, and if you ride a bike enough, everyone has a story of being hit or near miss. There's a lot that can be done. As county chair, I bring my kids to all the dinners, and my son would always enjoy it because he liked the food, but my daughter was a tougher sell to get her there. But I like to involve the youth. I'd like to see an internship to locally use. Commissioners have a soapbox that they can stand on and make things happen, and that's the opportunity that I see. And I think that's what I'd like to do going forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. One more economic development sort of related question, since we have a theme, we'll move on to a different topic. The mayor of Lebanon recently presented to stakeholders a proposal to create a business improvement district, or BID, as a strategy to aid in and revitalize the economic development of downtown Lebanon. Do you support the mayor's BID proposal, and how do you see it fitting in with the growth and development of Lebanon County? And we'll start with
The short answer is yes. And that is because the city is the hub of the county. If you think about it.
Thank you. If you think about it, the short answer was yes. Can I start over? I'm sorry. And that is because the city is the hub of the county. If you think about it, routes 422 and 72 intersect in the city at 4 different corners. That's pretty substantial, because that means the majority of traffic goes through the city at one point or another. And it's important that we work as partners with the city for safe and clean streets, which will help to retain existing businesses and invite new businesses to locate here. Number 2, we can continue to reuse industrial areas, thus preserving farmland. And number 3, we need our citizens to be engaged. And I take some of these phrases from the actual BID proposal. We need them to be engaged in a life investment, a culture of change to make the city a destination and a place to learn and work. This can be accomplished through collaboration, active lifestyles, and market connections with a story that makes sense. This emphasis will attract talent, residents, and investors. Working with the county, the city can be a champion, a catalyst, and a convener.
I too support the bid concept, although obviously it's there for the stakeholders to make the final decision, those folks that have already invested in the city, in property and businesses, but they will have to decide whether or not they want to make a greater investment in their facility and their business in the city. I look at it as a county commissioner as this bid opportunity for folks in the city might spread throughout the county in other municipalities, other boroughs, other towns, other villages. So the concept certainly seems worthy to me, and I'm very anxious to see how the businesses in Lebanon City accept this, and hopefully they will adopt it and it will be successful. Thank you.
I am in favor of it as well, and actually had the opportunity to sit on the steering committee. I have a business downtown. My building is in the business improvement district. And I saw the results of having a full-time person recruiting business to the area when Brenda Phillips served on Lebanon 2000. She was a tenant in my building, and there was a noticeable difference with her impact. A strong city creates a strong county, and that's where it starts. Fortunately, as a candidate, you're required to raise funds, and I made sure that my two fundraisers were in the city. I had one at Stitch Creek, and I had one at the Foundry. But the business improvement district really does create more traffic, creates more foot traffic downtown, and that's really what you notice first. And I think Wiley said it well in their segment when he said, if you're in downtown all the time and there's a tree in front of your building, you don't tend to notice it. Someone's there for the first time, they pick up on it right away. I think that's the benefit of having a full-time person actively working on behalf of the city. I would also like to see some of the city departments downtown. That creates additional foot traffic, and I think that benefits local businesses within that district. Thank you.
I too support the bid. My business is a block from Chris's, and I've been there 26 years on Chestnut Street. We enjoy a feeling of safety, though there is a perception of an issue of safety. We think a bid would help in that perception, and also with a cleanliness issue that we all can improve on in any part of the town. But I think in concert with all that, I think one of the greatest assets that we have in the city is our mayor, Mayor Capello. We're really blessed with capable leadership and with great council as well. So with those folks, I want to give our support, and I wish you luck with that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next question. Well, heroin has been in the news lately, specifically in Lebanon City. It is certainly not an issue confined to the city itself. How serious do you see the heroin issue being in the county, and what, if anything, should the county be doing to address the issue? And we'll start with Bill.
I was a little confused in the rotation there for a moment.
I was too.
You got it right, and Chris didn't know the answer. Well, obviously, we all know the severity of the heroin issue. I too attended the forum that was held here a few weeks ago, and only then, when you begin to hear some of the parents pour out their stories, do you realize how serious it is. No, it's not a city problem. It cuts, heroin addiction cuts across geographic lines, socioeconomic lines, ethnic lines. It doesn't just affect one group of people or one area. In fact, I read somewhere not too long ago that Panama City. So it is a problem for all of us, a serious problem. And obviously, I think it was said in the City Council debate. It's not restricted to our county either. It goes statewide, probably nationally. We just recently established the heroin task force, and the county commissioners and myself included will stand strongly behind that. And we have a very capable staff in our drug and alcohol department under the leadership of Jim Dunmoyer, who's doing a great job.
Well, I think the county got it right with the methadone clinic. I look at the heroin issue, and as a parent, I have a son who's a senior at Cedar Crest and a daughter who's in 7th grade, and it's absolutely frightening. But what I really think it comes down to is awareness, and the city is doing is making the right steps, as is the county. You look at the source, and it really is these the opiate painkillers is where you start, and with the cheap access to heroin, that's where they end up. And I feel for the parents because they're absolutely helpless, but I think it really begins with being proactive and getting awareness out there.
Bill mentioned Jim Dunmoyer. He's our relatively new director of drug and alcohol. Very strong in treatment, great, capable director. We have very good people working on this issue. Bill mentioned the task force as well. But the night of this forum that was held here, sponsored by the Daily News, I believe, we had grandparents and family members who had no idea who to call, what to do. And this is, they had no idea that their children or grandchildren were even in trouble until it was too late. We had parents holding up pictures of their children that had died within the last few months. So we've lost 16 of our Lebanon County residents this year already. But I want to tell you, just north of us in Luzerne County, last year, 87 deaths with drug overdoses. Heroin went from $25 a bag to $3 a bag. So its availability and its cost is so low that we need to get ahead of it on the prevention side. And not to forget the victims either, because we have Bethel at the courthouse working with the victims of these crimes that fund these heroin addicts. Thank you.
Heroin is stealing our young people from us. Bad people push drugs and deserve to be arrested and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. The county is charged with addressing drug and alcohol through education and treatment dollars. The task force has been established to assist with this situation. The county commissioners have authorized purchase of naloxone kits to give to all the first responders. And other programs the county supports include the Red Ribbon Week, DARE, and that program is not as active as it once was, but it has been supported by the county. Renaissance Crossroad, which is at the VA Medical Center, and it's a 9-month treatment rehabilitation, as well as the methadone clinic. Now, one other thing that County Commissioners Association of Pennsylvania supports, and I hope that our task force looks at, is to offer immunity for individuals seeking help for someone who is suffering from an overdose. It could help to save lives.
Thank you very much. And our next question, we'll start with Chris. How would you grade the county on the level of services it provides? What does it do well, and where can it improve?
I think you never want to become complacent. I think there's some things that it does well. I think there's some things that can use improvement. Moving in the right direction, I think the DMO, and I know that's another question, but recognizing that there was an issue with the way tourist dollars were spent when it was going to the Expo Center and they were used essentially to promote the Expo Center. That was, I think, a victory. I think there's a need for new ideas, and my perspective is unique. Sitting up here as a manufacturer, one that employs 19 people, and I think when I was chair of the Democratic Committee, I did for 8 years, and I could have done it another 4 years, but I really felt that it was just time for change. And in sports, it's a new coach, new face, new voice, and I think that's what we're facing now. Thank you.
with sorry, Chris, I was reading my next question. By the way, we had our fundraiser last night in the city as well. So, I'm sorry, what was it?
I'll repeat the question. How would you grade the county
Oh, yes.
on the level of services it provides?
Yeah, I have, in that one, always can do better, but very challenging issues for each department. Human and social services, we have children and youth with 23 new mandates since the Sandusky issue came about. Very, very difficult work. Deliver services very well. Prison is a difficult, takes up 1/3 of our tax base. We have, it's about an $8 million budget of $28 million, or $24 million that we collect in property taxes. And yet they are the third lowest cost per inmate per day in the state. So there are good things happening throughout the system. Improvements could be made, but I do give our employees a name for their work. Thank you.
The state makes the laws that we must follow, mandates what services we must provide, and then reimburses the county for a portion of the cost to provide these services, but they are dwindling. For example, human services were cut by 10%, and some people got to use a grant of sorts to be able to spend it in different areas as necessary. Lebanon County was not included in that. But through training, our staff keeps abreast of changes in the delivery of services. You've heard about children and the youth and the Sandusky situation. We also have EMA, who has to integrate text and video and social media into their interaction with the public. The list goes on. Of course, there's always room for improvement. Commissioners must provide the right tools, training, and environment to empower staff to serve the community in a timely, efficient, and friendly manner. We do keep consistent hours and have started to allow collection of taxes online, and those kinds of things are helpful. But I also think that we can improve and ask the constituents exactly what those areas are, perhaps a survey. Thank you.
Well, I also rate the county high in providing services, and as a county commissioner, our job is to give our staff the tools and the means to be able to deliver those services. That's our main role. We are not very often actively involved in providing the services. It's our role to determine what, within the guidelines provided by the state and within the funding provided by the state, to make those services available to our residents. And as has already been mentioned, we have an incredible staff. So the bulk of the credit for the good job that we do needs to go to them. And we support them rather than taking credit for what they do.
Thank you all very much. The next question. Lebanon has 26 municipalities within the borders. What do you see as the right partnership and relationship with the county's local municipalities? How would you describe the county's current relationship with local municipalities? We'll start with Bob.
I think we have a very good relationship with our municipalities. What we would like would be to have more work through our planning department. Some of them have their own people for zoning and other issues and permitting. But if we could get more people or more of the municipalities to work through our planning department, which we are rebuilding, I think then you would have more consistent and more efficient service for our people that are investing in our county for building and for expansion. Thank you.
Well, the county's not over municipalities. We are each assigned different duties by the state. For example, you've heard that municipalities plow the roads and provide police and fire protection. Lebanon County protects children, serves families, manages emergencies, secure justice, and safeguards elections. And we work with municipalities on an ongoing basis. Here are several examples. We support the fire training school, dispatch fire, police, and ambulance. We also distribute standard and special liquid fuels taxes and work together on a comprehensive plan to preserve our special areas and guide growth, offer planning department services from the issuing of permits to enforcement. We host a metropolitan planning organization to provide road and bridge projects. Of course, we work with the city to get the bridges over the railroad. We work with municipalities to authorize the DMO, that's the Tourist Bureau. And we provide a detective department with specialized investigations on gangs, activities, and gambling, internet use, drugs, things of that sort. And we host and attend municipal meetings and or conventions to learn from each other. Those are just 8 examples.
Yes, the responsibilities of the municipalities and the responsibilities of the county are clearly defined. However, there's a relationship that exists between municipalities and the county that, just by their nature, existing within the same space. I think the county's relationship with municipalities is very favorable right now. But I would like to see more things done to provide a cooperative spirit. We have workshop sessions every Wednesday afternoon, and we dedicate Wednesday afternoons for various workshop sessions. And what I would like to see going forward is workshop sessions where we bring representatives from a few of the municipalities in and actually have a workshop where we share ideas with them, they share ideas with us, and I think it will make it possible for us to better serve the municipalities in the county.
I had mentioned earlier that the county commissioners possess a soapbox, and they had the ability, I think, to kind of pull some people aside and make a difference. You read the local newspaper or listen to the radio, and you hear what goes on in Jackson Township. There's typically a nightmare in West Cornell Township. Local government should be respectful, at a minimum. They should also be transparent. There are issues, I think, in those townships in particular. But as a county commissioner, I think I would pull them aside and say, look, you just cannot treat people like that. If you might not like what you're hearing, but you have to let people speak. Being the head of a company, head of a county, it's like being a coach on a baseball team. And sometimes, you have to kick someone in the rear. Sometimes you have to coddle them. But it's important to recognize when someone has to step in and make a difference. Thank you.
Okay, again, thank you very much. The next question. Increasing revenues without raising taxes can be a delicate balance. Do you have any ideas on how the county can increase its revenues without raising taxes? Okay, Jo Ellen.
While insurance salaries and utility costs have risen, Lebanon County has gone 7 years, during which time I've been commissioner, without raising taxes. This is accomplished in cooperation with our department heads and, of course, our chief administrator, Jamie Wogemuth, who is here tonight. And this happens during budget sessions and budget hearings, where each department reviews the fees being charged and can adjust it approximately every 3 years by law. We've also undergone our second Honeywell audit, and that's an energy audit that has saved us tens of thousands of dollars, and continues to do that through water conservation and other kinds of energy efficiencies, including lighting, etc. Over the years, we switched from owning computers and cars to renting them, at a cost savings to the county, as well as having newer, more reliable equipment, requiring less maintenance and repairs, which resulted in cost savings and safer vehicles for our valued employees and increase morale as well. We want to say thank you to all those wonderful employees.
Well, actually, the question asked, how can you raise revenues without increasing taxes? I think there's a difference between raising revenues and cutting expenses. So I look at this question purely from how can we raise revenue without increasing taxes? And I only see a few possibilities. One, our county treasurer has begun to collect taxes for some of the municipalities, and she indicates to me that we're able to actually make a profit, a small profit doing that, and she would like to do even more. So I would like to see us explore the possibility of providing that tax collection service, not only for municipalities, but also for school districts. Another thing that we could do, and we get paid for very few services that we provide, but one that we can be paid for is the planning services. And as Commissioner Phillips said, we're working to rebuild the planning department, and I would like to see us go out and market our planning services to some of the other municipalities that have decided to use other sources for their planning efforts. That's another way of raising revenue without raising taxes.
If we're successful in applying lean principles, that in a business model that creates bottom line growth, you don't have to raise taxes. You don't have to worry about raising revenues because you're much more efficient. But I think with economic development, I mentioned before having a county business forum focusing on innovation, where you're teaching companies how to develop a new product development process. That's the top line growth. That's where you add jobs. And every elected official in office, I think, claims to create a job when jobs are created. Well, I see how.
Transportation systems and infrastructure. And we will start with Bill.
Well, I serve as the liaison to Lebanon Transit, so I've been involved and I think well informed on what's happening in transit. And PennDOT has been toying with and studying regionalization, and we had to make a decision as county commissioners as to where we would come down on that issue. And we got the best information that we could. We actually had some representatives from the Lebanon Transit Board come and meet with the county commissioners to hear their thinking on this issue. And we decided to move on to the next phase of at least studying regionalization of transit services. And we appointed two of our capable people in the planning department, John Fitzke and Tom Cote, to represent us on those panels as they study the regionalization of transit in the county.
Through my business travel, I've had the opportunity to take light rail to the San Francisco airport, subway through New York City. I think Lebanon, I now have an Uber driver somewhere. Lebanon County is still a rural county, but I think now is the time to start thinking strategically as to where we want to be 10 years from now, where we want to be 20 years from now. There was opportunity for bypasses in the past that evaporate because it gets more and more difficult. But I think looking at the future in a smart way now, we can resolve a lot of the transportation issues that will hit us. As energy prices rise, it becomes an issue. But it also allows the city residents to get out of the city and also bring county residents into the city. And again, now is the time to be thinking strategically. And whenever I have an opportunity to talk to government officials at the state and federal level, I always remind them that they're not too good at strategic planning. But I think we have an opportunity to do that now. Thank you.
Transit in Lebanon County is very heavily subsidized. It's It's always good to take a look at innovative ways to move people to where they need to get. And so we supported this study, and perhaps a regional approach would be more efficient and more able to save some money for the system. So we're in the middle of that right now, and it's really, don't have too much more information other than we're in the middle of the study. Thank you.
Well, first of all, we need to maintain our existing roads and bridges so that no matter what transit we're using that uses those roads, they can get where they're going. We've been working on and should continue to improve traffic flow through synchronized signalization and other avenues. We also have enhanced bus service with Wi-Fi and really comfortable seats. There's other amenities on the commute king that goes to Harrisburg. It's a wonderful service, and I think that if we can raise the level of all our buses to that level, our system will be really good. But I've been working with transportation a long time, and the one thing that I've been told and been part of different groups in Hershey and here and just different places is that what we should be doing is improving our buses till they are at maximum capacity, because people will not want to drive their cars if they can ride in luxury with all the amenities. And as they become full, we open up in each of our communities a passenger rail station in our community. And then people can get to their jobs, whether it's Hershey or Harrisburg or Reading or even Lancaster, and then they can come back home. The buses pick them up at the train station and take them back to the other parts of the community. And that's the way it's supposed to work. That's what we've been working towards for a long time. Now, the study that's being done is to make it one system. So my time is up.
Thank you. Chris, this is for you. The county's new destination marketing organization is up and running, recently opening its visitor center and the farmers market. How important do you see tourism for Lebanon County, and what should the county commissioner's relationship be with Visit Lebanon Valley?
Well, I think, we had a benefit of having a fresh outlook on the way tourism was handled in the county with Commissioner Phillips and Commissioner Ames. And they realized pretty quickly that the Expo Center wasn't doing it. I think we're kind of behind the curve in terms of tourism because of that. But, sitting on the board of the Cornell Iron Furnace, and actually, Pennsylvania history isn't even taught in school anymore. So the importance of that facility is highlighted. I see the need for promotion. You travel around the area, you travel around the state, you travel in other states, and you see a lot more visibility with the marketing and with the tourism. I think we have a very capable person in Laura. I think she's taking the time to be visible and be active, and it's been my experience that she's listening to stakeholders and truly pushing the county. Thank you.
I do think that the Expo and the DMO are on the verge of exploding. Tourism with Laura and her board, Laura Putt, has given new energy to all that. Pat Kerwin, great selection for the Expo management. Will bring new venues and great management to that. Lebanon has rich history and many great attractions and great venues. And I mentioned earlier North Cornwall Commons, which will be right across the street from the Expo with a couple of restaurants and a hotel and an office building and 180 homes. That's all in process right now happening. So we are really on the verge of an explosion in that area of good things, and it will expand throughout the county as Laura and Pat get their bearings.
One more time, greater things are yet to come, and greater things are still to be done in Lebanon County. I can tell you that we have only one place to go, and that's up. What we're going to do is create a cohesive MPO as they move forward, and that's now called the Tourist Bureau or Tourist Agency. There's so many name changes, it's hard to keep track. But we have trails, and we have military, and we have all kinds of historic sites and architecture. There's so much in this community that we can just boast and bring others in and let them visit and spend their money here, and then they can go back home. I think that by coordinating it through a visible presence downtown and with kiosks in the outer reaches, working in tandem with the Lebanon Valley Exposition Center, these are all ways that we can do things. We need an interactive website. We need a comprehensive calendar of events so that people can visit that site and know what's going on, when, and where. I think that our commissioners have been working on this project and together, and we can continue that in the future. Thank you.
I think you heard the name Jamie Walden mentioned a few times this evening. And Jamie, of course, is our county administrator, and I think all three of us rely greatly on his wisdom. I was talking to Jamie this afternoon about this debate this evening, and he said, Bill, don't be afraid to take credit for something if you've done something significant and it comes up during the debate this evening. So I'm going to take credit for what has happened in tourism in Lebanon County with the support of my colleagues, my two colleagues. There were a few things during my first four-year term that I staked my political career on, and had they gone the wrong way, it probably would have been the end of my political career. Tourism in Lebanon County is one of those things that I staked my career on. I felt so strongly about how tourism had gone astray in Lebanon County and how the public was being misled or perhaps didn't even know what was happening. But I persevered, and as I said, with the help of my colleagues, we were courageous enough to decertify the existing TPA and now put in place a board with a very capable president to direct our tourism.
Thank you very much. This will be our final question before each of you has the opportunity to give us some closing comments. And we're going to let Bob start with this one. There is currently legislation in Harrisburg that would allow counties to raise their hotel tax from 3% to 5% to support tourism in their area. Do you support increasing the county's hotel tax?
Yes. All the contiguous counties have 5%. They're competing for venues with us. They can give discounts on different parts of the rentals and so on that we can't afford to do without that extra 2% or part of that 2%. So yes, I support it wholeheartedly, and if the legislature doesn't do it, I think we should, go to the legislators ourselves to make it happen.
Yes.
I think that brings it back to you, Bill.
Well, I'll also say yes, because obviously I've already expressed to you my concern and my support for tourism in Lebanon County. And because I do presently serve as a voting member of the Lebanon Valley DMO Board of Directors, and we have as our chairman of that board, Joe Weisler, who is the aide to one of our representatives in Harrisburg. We do know that bill has been introduced in both houses. It has been amended somewhat in the Senate, but it is, I'm sure, it is going to pass. And when it passes, it will make it possible for us as county commissioners to direct those funds probably similarly to the way we are now. And for those of you that don't know that, 35% of the tax goes to the Expo Center for that support of that facility, because that is our lead tourist attraction in Lebanon County as far as overnight stays. And then 55% goes to the actual tourism body, and 10% stays with the county commissioners for specialized grants related to tourism.
I was trying to read John Latimer's Twitter notification as he was taking pictures, and I didn't see that they passed the budget yet in Harrisburg. But being on the board of the Cornell Iron Furnace, we can't rely on funding from the state. And I absolutely say yes. Going from 3% to 5% is really just nickels and dimes in terms of the liability to someone staying in a local hotel. And, I think tourism suffered in the past when the Expo Center was in charge of tourism. But, I think sometimes we become blind to the beauty and the amenities of this county. And there really is a lot to promote, and any little bit that can be collected to enhance that, I'm all for. Thank you.
Thank you. As we now move to closing comments, you'll each be allowed 1 minute to share your comments, and we'll start as we did from the beginning with Bill.
All right, again, let me take this opportunity to thank the Chamber and the Lebanon Daily News and also HACC for providing this venue and this opportunity this evening for all of us to give some of our views about county government. I would like to take this opportunity to ask you to take a look at the job that I've done as one of your county commissioners over the last 4 years. Take a look at the stands that I was willing to take. And I said last night, as Bob said, we had a fundraiser last night, I said to the folks there, I would never decide whether to vote yea or nay on an issue based on how I thought it might play with the residents of the county. I would make what I feel would be the best decision, and then after I've made that decision, let you folks reflect on what I've done, and I'm sure that in most cases you will agree.
Every election is about opportunity and consequence. I think voters have a chance on November 3rd to make a choice, and hopefully the choice is to move the county forward and vote for me. I'm working really for my kids. I want to make Lebanon County a better area for my kids, and I think it comes down to economic prosperity and amenities. Knocking on doors, talking to voters. In business, it's called voice of customer. In politics, it's the voice of the voter. And the overwhelming response that I get from talking to people, Republicans, Democrats, Independents, doesn't matter. It's time for change. And I think I have a very unique experience, and I have a skill set to really push the county forward. And I ask humbly for your vote on November 3rd. And in closing, I want to thank Scott for standing for 3 hours. Lebanon Daily News, HACC, and the Lebanon Valley Chamber of Commerce. You guys do a lot of events, and